All right, appreciate you guys being here. Tough weekend. Thought our team competed, played really hard, just didn't get it done. Going back to Tuesday versus Louisiana Tech, thought the crowd was incredible. Really liked the fast start from the offense. Really good job by Sheets opening up. That's the team that we can be, and that's the team that we have to put together for the next 7 games. It's certainly capable. And then moving on to the Southern Miss series, I thought the doubleheader on Saturday would kind of play into our advantage just because so many doubleheaders are split in college baseball, and we just could not overcome the way they were pitching. It was just, not great conditions to hit, wind blowing hard in. They have really good arms. But, man, what a job by Broadnax and Roark, 2 freshmen going into that environment. And for Broadnax to go all the way to the 9th inning, proud of him. That's what he can be. That's what we've been talking about all year. What we're trying to get him to, and just so much credit to Coach Cox and Adam himself. Just continue to work to turn him into what we can believe a really good Friday night guy going forward. And then another freshman right on the back end behind him, Tyler Roark, just really tough. Thought those guys were competitive, really good on the mound. We just did not get the big knock when we needed to. Bases loaded, nobody out, and we hit into a double play. They did a really good job all weekend, I thought, of minimizing innings, keeping us to 1 run a lot. And so that's when we got to figure out how to win. That's where we're building this program and trying to get, how do you go into that ballpark and win, because it was right there in front of us. But, I thought their starter, Harris, did a really good job of adjusting to us. We were ready to hit his fastball. And, when that happens, a pitcher has a decision. Like, I have to show different pitches and change speeds and get guys off the fastball. And he did that, and we did not adjust well. And so hats off to him. I thought it was a really good game. Thought the atmosphere was incredible. When that happens, you get walked off like that, you have to turn the page quickly because you don't want anything to leak into game 2. And again, both teams had trouble hitting. The wind blowing in, the zone was humongous. It makes it tough to hit. It makes it really tough to hit. So when you get mistakes over the middle part of the plate, you got to go. And we didn't do it. And so, I thought Corley just showed what he can be. The guy didn't pitch last year, and he's worked through some valleys of this season, and again was really tough to hit, and so you continue to develop and push and coach Broadnax and Corley. You have 2 really good starters going for the rest of this season and into next year. So Justin Robinson on the back end gave us a chance to win, held it where he needed to, and we just didn't get it done. And so I thought yesterday, I didn't think Sheets had his best stuff, but he went out there and competed for us to open up the game. Just wasn't coming out. He's been up to 91, 93 last couple of outings, and just didn't have it yesterday. But you really couldn't tell through his presence. He was out there competing really hard. And again, man, they just overwhelmed us. We didn't do a good job handling. We're getting flooded with strikes. And, we were bad with 2 strikes all weekend, just swinging and missing our pitch early in the count. And so what we want to do is still in front of us. We control that. Our guys understand it. We had a little talk getting off the bus yesterday when we got back. But, what was encouraging to me was, you have a team that's down 7-1, about to get swept, and our guys are playing hard. A really good double play turn. Mosey is crashing into the wall to make a catch. And I told them teams that lie down or aren't good ball clubs, they don't have those characteristics. So we know it's there. And it's about playing complementary baseball. We haven't done that. We've played some really bad complementary baseball. And what I mean is when we pitch really well, we don't hit, vice versa a little bit early in the season. So how do you put it together the next 7 games? These guys have come a long way. I told them and continue to encourage them. We got guys playing through injury. Like, I'm not going to just go through what it is, but we got guys playing through injuries, broken hand, sickness that I think has really affected us. How do you lay it all on the line the next 7 games? And that was the message right there. You were picked last in this league, and you're knocking on the door to get through this tournament and change what this program has been. And so we're right there. We're going to show up today and get ready to work. Some guys are going through finals. We'll get that out of the way. And we just have to work and put our best baseball ahead, and certainly capable. We've been saying it. Now it's time to do it. And so I like the group. I like the focus. I like the fight. We have to overcome this and do exactly what we think we are and what we can do. How do you put that pitch? The 2 of the last 3 weekends, we have pitched phenomenally, just great, okay? And so you mix that with hitting. No one wants to play you if you can get hot going into this tournament and play for a championship. So we are talking about it now. We're fighting to get into this thing, and I think we can do it. I really do. And so I want our guys to understand that you put two units together, playing the game right, you can be a really tough team to play. So that's the message going forward. We're excited to get back out on the field on Tuesday against a team that can show up and beat you. So we need to be ready, and then we'll hop on the bus Wednesday and take the double sleeper buses again. I really like that we've already had a trip like this. I think that'll be good for us going into Marshall and get ready to play them.
As far as game one Saturday, just like you said, the bases loaded, nobody out in the second, but then even in the third, Michael Dean gets thrown out and bang play at home. Just when you're on the road against the number 12 team, it just feels like plays like that swing the fence, swing it all, and maybe kind of shut down confidence in the plate. Maybe it's something that gets it going. It's a safe call at the plate. Just how do you kind of overcome that? And just seemed like two plays very early in the series that kind of swung things.
Yeah, tip your cap. They made a really good play. I really like the send from Coach Lartigue. That's our fastest guy. That's our fastest guy. They had to make a clean play in the outfield. They had to make a clean throw, a clean catch at the plate, and make a clean tag. I think if he calls them safe, it probably stands. And so, we have to be aggressive in that situation. I really like it. But yeah, just like that's a championship club with a championship standard. Then they believe they're supposed to make that play, and that's what we're trying to instill here. That we believe we belong. Okay, and so it probably hadn't clicked as much as I want it to relative to that mindset, but we're coming. Like it's going to happen. And so, they made some nice plays. I thought it was a really good swing by Haggard, but you're exactly right. Like it just, it didn't go our way right there. I thought it was a really good slide, but hats off to them. They made a good play.
As far as, like I said, the pitching has just kind of come along the last few weeks, and a lot of it is, Adam Rodnack's a freshman, Tyler Roark's a freshman. You've got, Brant Corley didn't throw a year ago due to injury. Just how much of it has been kind of fighting through this year? Maybe guys that have more upside, you're starting to see that just because they're getting more experience as you go along.
Yeah, it's a great point, and that's why we just keep coaching these guys, and they keep responding. There's some dark points in the season for Broadnax. There's some dark points or some low points for Corley, and they've just continued to stay professional and work. And we talk about playing our best baseball, individual performance, playing your best this time when it starts getting hot. And, now it's a matter of just guys, like, let's do it all together. Complete package of baseball, really good pitching, really good defense, timely hitting, slugging, whatever it may be. But yeah, like Broadnax, that was he turned some heads that day. That was really good, and that's what he can be. And I just think he's just learning this level. I think he's finally he's doing stuff like paying attention to the games the rest of the weekend, Saturday or game 2 and game 3. Like he's analyzing the game. He's right up there with Coach Cox calling the game. Brady's done a tremendous job with his staff, and looking at it, broad view, quick view at numbers, like the numbers don't matter. We're developing these guys, teaching them how to play at this level, continue to push them, and that's what this is about. And so I like where we are. How do we do it the next 7 games, and guys continue to step up, and you mix it with a little bit of offense, we're a dangerous club.
You pitch well when you get a standing ovation from the opposing crowd. Just how much can something like that help a kid like Broadnax with his confidence if he gets a standing ovation from Southern Miss's fans?
Yeah, it was, they're a smart baseball crowd all weekend. They were, it was good to see. I'm sure Broadnax appreciated it, but it was good. That was a good baseball game, not if you like offense, but it's just really quality pitches made. I saw a couple from both sides, like tough 2-strike swings and moving the AB along, and that ended with a punch out. But good for him. Like we keep telling Broadnax, like you're really special. Like we put him on the phone with a couple big leaguers a few weeks ago, for him to ask questions. And I keep encouraging him to watch Major League Baseball, and he's just I'm really proud of his development and the direction we're headed with him. He can be a force. He can be a Friday night guy in this league, and really, really proud of him.
To go back a week ago to that Louisiana Tech game too, and the struggles offensively this weekend against a really good pitching staff, but this last Tuesday kind of showed you this team, they still got it offensively. It's just a matter of getting it consistently in the game like that.
Yeah, I think so. I thought they had it game 1. Like we didn't do a good job adjusting And they're pitching at the top of the league for a reason, and just you have to get your even if it's like if bases loaded, nobody out, and that's our moment where we hit a ball down the line and it clears the bases. Well, there's your 3 or 4 runs that could have won that game one. Sometimes the game's just asking you to score 3 or 4, and it did twice this weekend, and we just didn't do it. We have to have a dynamic offense that can win a game like Tuesday, high scoring, just crazy game, and you got to have an offense that what we haven't done a good job of, in my opinion, as an offense is when the other team is not hitting and we're pitching well, it's something is not right mentally that's not allowing us to bust that open. It's just it's like, well, we have to play tight too, and you don't. We have to figure out how to win that. We talked about that back in August. A dynamic offense and adaptability in winning. And we didn't do it. We did not do it. I just saw us swinging at balls. I saw us swinging at non-competitive 0-0 spin in the dirt. I saw us running out of bat with 2 strikes when the 2-strike plan was to avoid running out of bat. And so we just need to clear our heads and get out there today. We'll work with some guys individually in the afternoon and just get back onto it of what makes us good. You had 19 hits Tuesday. We've had double-digit hits for a plethora of games. We need to. That's twice now that we just kind of got pitched to over the weekend. Arkansas State, Southern Miss, very similar clubs, and we pitched well in those series. And so, like I said, it's about putting it all together. We're certainly capable. We believe we're going to do it, and it's right there. It's right there for us.
The Sunday game, is that something still under evaluation this week? Does Seaver get another shot? How does that work?
We'll see. I think Seaver will be, if he doesn't have to throw tomorrow, which we don't plan to, unless it's just a very short outing, I think he'll be fresh. I just think his body wasn't used to he had gone a kind of a while without throwing multiple innings, and then, just the stuff wasn't there. And, he's not going to tell you he's going to go out there and compete, but I could just see the velo difference and not coming out of his hand. But, we'll see. It's, he goes out there with really good confidence, and he's certainly capable of starting Sunday again. So it's just something we'll kind of see as we move forward. But
Mississippi Valley gave you a tough time last month, and I know they're struggling now. They were hot coming in last time. They're struggling this time. But just does that maybe help get the attention of these guys tomorrow night about, hey, they can come in, they can play with you. You got to go out and go 100%.
yeah, certainly, but the biggest thing, it's about us. I think having this midweek like this, the last one, just an opportunity to keep your guys in the box and kind of, so we can get this past weekend out of our head and get in there and hunt mistakes and ready to go and run our offense. And, it's anybody can beat anybody in this game. We know that. And so we need to show up and be ready to go, enjoy our last midweek. These midweek games at home have been fun. Like the crowds have been good. And, lately we've played pretty good in the middle of the week. And so we need to keep that going. It's a chance at 25 wins, and just as we continue to build, that needs to be the norm, right? And so our guys will be ready to go.
Marshall, this weekend, like you said, us done that before, been there, done that, but different ballpark, different place. None of the guys on this roster have been there, so this is something new entirely. Just how do you approach this weekend? What do you expect from the Herd?
They're going to be they're in the same position. They're fighting. They're going to play desperate baseball. I don't really know the coach. I know Tim Donnelly, the hitting coach, really well. And in fact, we were talking this morning, but don't know much of the other coaches. Haven't been. Heard great things. Heard they get pretty good crowds, and it's a smart crowd. I like that. But anytime you can go on the road and play in a really nice facility, it's a plus. And so we're looking forward to it. We need to be efficient in our travel. And as you mentioned, like we've done it. And so we're going to leave a little bit earlier just to give some guys some time to just kind of hang out on the bus a little bit. Last time we hopped on there and went straight to sleep. This will let some guys just kind of enjoy each other a little bit. I think finals will be done out of the way. And, they're going to be good. We need to go and play our game. I know they have a good Friday night guy. Just kind of I've watched minimal film, but, Coach Schatz and I were just talking about some stuff they do defensively. And so we'll be ready. And we're really looking forward to it. I really like going to really nice ballparks. Haven't been here yet, but I've heard great things.